In today's video, we're thinking about what it means if God is a holy God. And what does this mean? I'm sure you have heard of the word holy before. Maybe you've heard somebody say that a person is holy when maybe they're a person that is behaving really well. Maybe they are a perfect person and it's almost like they've got a halo on top of their head, like they're an angel. Or maybe you've been in a place where they have been singing songs, maybe in a church, about God being holy. But what does it really mean? What does the word holy really mean? Some people use the word pure when they're thinking about being holy, and also thinking about things like being morally perfect, which would mean making kind choices, thinking of others, never being jealous, not having broken love feelings. But in the Bible, the idea of being holy is far bigger than being just pure or morally perfect. God being holy also describes how God is the creative force behind the whole universe. God is the one and only being with the power to make a world full of beauty and life. It is God that we look to for the meaning of life itself. So let's have a think about God's holiness. So we're going to think about the sun. So here is our sun. Our sun is a unique and powerful source of life. We could say that the sun is holy, and all around the sun is holy because the sun's warmth spills out everywhere. So it's not just the sun in the centre that is holy, but the holiness is everywhere. So let's think about if somebody was to come close to the sun. If they got really close, we know that they would get so hot that they would be taken up by the sun and they would become of the sun. So now, if we replace the sun with God, so we know that God is love, so we're going to replace the sun with God. And we apply the same thing where we move somebody closer and closer into God's presence, then they become like God, become of God. Now, Christians believe that God is their maker, the creator of all things, the most powerful being, and that God holds the whole world in his hands. And for these reasons, amongst others, Christian people worship God because they want to be really close to him. Now, you may have heard of a verse in the Bible, in the book of John, where it says, God is love. We also know from the very first book of the Bible, in Genesis, that God made a world that was perfect. So another way to think of the world might be to say that it was pure and unspoilt, and therefore it was holy. Everything that God had made was perfect and just as he wanted it to be. But we then know that in the Old Testament there was broken love that came into the world. and people were no longer pure, so they couldn't be close to God like they used to be. Now, in the old part of the Bible, the Old Testament, it tells us of things that people did to help themselves to be as pure as they can be so that they could be close to God again. They would do things like wash themselves in certain ways or eat food that was a special food that was only fit to be eaten. And they would give gifts to God, like sorry gifts. These would be things like goats, things that hadn't done anything wrong. They would give to God and they would take the blame for the things that they had done wrong. And this then meant that people had sent all of the broken love away. It had all been taken care of because they'd done all of these things to become pure again, and then they could be close to God again. Now, in the New Testament, God puts himself into baby Jesus, and he comes to live on the earth. Jesus had come to take the place of all of the things that people used to do, like washing themselves and eating certain foods and giving sorry gifts to God. Jesus had come to be the perfect sorry gift, so that people could be sorry to Jesus when their hearts felt sorry for the broken love. And then they would be close to God again. Because Jesus, who's now grown up, was their connection to God. The holiness that was in Jesus is the same holiness that was in God. But things are a little bit different now. Because Jesus was down on the earth, the holiness of Jesus would pour out of him like running water, and all of the holiness would pour out into the people. For Christians, having a life that is close to God is really important, because they know that one day they will live close to God forever in a new perfect world, a world that will be pure and unspoilt.